Bob Gleason, born in San Francisco in January of 1946. I had some friends who lived here and I came to visit. I never left. That was in 1982. Yeah, the land was cheap. Very cheap.
Very cheap.
Well, the first couple of years I was in Nalehu, near the south end of the island. And then in about 1984 I bought this land here, 6 acres of land, and I've been here ever since. All kinds. I get up in the morning and I turn on NPR and listen to classical music for as long as I can stand it. And after a couple hours of that, I changed. Like I got a new James Hill CD in there that I've listened to about 100 times. I love it. So I listened to the iPod for a while, listened to the Rolling Stones, and then I changed to Hawaiian music and drive in the car and the music out on the Hawaiian music station. And the other night we went to listen to this singer from Tunisia, just really off the wall stuff, but I love it. I like it all. Yeah. I have a lot, but with building instruments, there's no time for anything. It consumes your entire life. And I like lots of things. I used to like to ski a lot. Now I live here in Hawaii and I can't ski anymore. I like riding motorcycles, but now I'm old and I gotta have slow motorcycles. And, it's so. Oh yeah, I'd love to ride in the Isle of Man on a really fast motorcycle. No, I enjoy woodwork and I really like being outside, but truthfully, instrument making does just consume your life. It's what I've been doing for 43 years, and there's not a whole lot. I mean, other than playing music, I'm not professional, but I play in Connie Kapila, and I'm still trying to learn more about music theory. A lot of music-oriented things.
So
my grandkids, I enjoy my grandkids. Well, when I came to Hawaii, I was already a guitar builder. I've been building guitars for 10, 12 years at that point, and it just was a natural thing. And guitars don't sell that well here, so in those days, money was critical. So I started building ukuleles, and because there weren't too many people here building ukuleles, it was before the ukulele craze started. It's when I started making them, people became interested pretty fast. And particularly because I already brought guitar making skills from the mainland. What ukes were being made here were, there's nothing wrong with them, they just didn't have a lot of the things that guitars have. So I brought those skills to ukuleles and people kind of like that. When I was in college, somebody left an old Martin with a hole in the side of it in this place I was renting, so I didn't play an instrument at that time. So I took that when I left and ended up having that repaired, ended up learning how to play it and taking some lessons and getting interested, and then I made an instrument when I was in college from a kit, and his friend of mine wanted to buy it. So I sold it to him. And then after I graduated from college, one day I was in Seattle on a street corner, and I met this guy, Joe, I don't know his last name, and he had been to a school in Tennessee, guitar building school, and he opened this case he had with him, and I went, wow. I quit my job, went to Tennessee, and I've never looked back. Went to a guitar building school in Tennessee and a guitar repair school there. And since then, I've studied guitar making in Spain with some really great builders. I've studied with a lot of great builders on the mainland. Just, nowadays there's all these videos and books. It's so much easier. When I started, there was 2 or 3 books. Irving Sloan, this fellow, David Russell Young. That's all there was. There wasn't any videos. There were a couple of schools like the one I went to in Tennessee. Another school in Arizona that still does exist. Where I went, it doesn't exist anymore. It's real different now. Now you got YouTube and you got all these websites, and the web didn't exist when I started. Well, I worked for the city of Seattle when I first started doing it before I met this fella, Joe, on the street. After I graduated from college, it was actually, had a really cool job up at this hydroelectric project in the North Cascade Mountains. And we had this hydroelectric dam and these greenhouses with unlimited energy. So, and I was in charge of growing plants for the city of Seattle, landscape plants and stuff. So in the wintertime, we'd be up there with snow-covered greenhouses growing things that flowered. It was pretty cool. But I had done instrument making on the side. I was going to fairs and I was selling dulcimers and mandolins and harps, different things that I made. I wasn't really selling guitars. I'd made a few. The guitars didn't really blossom until after I went to Tennessee, which was especially guitar building school. Well, I got a lot of them. I mean, these people, whenever you go off to study with somebody, they'll always be part of your work. Like Tom Rebecki, I took archtop building from him, so the archtop guitars I make, or he definitely has an influence on that. Steve Grimes of Maui, that big influence. I mean, he's one of the first builders. Steve and I came from the same place in Washington. We didn't know each other over there. We lived really close together. We both moved to Hawaii. He moved to Maui, and I moved here. But he was doing a level of work a step above a lot of people when I first met him, and so he certainly had an influence on me, especially on the finishes. There's a guy who taught me at the school in Tennessee, Mike Lennon, who no longer, I'm not sure actually, I've lost contact with him, but he certainly is my teacher there, and later my friend, and we kept in contact over the years, and now we sort of drifted away. But he had certainly had a big influence. And Jose Romanillos that I studied with in Spain, huge influence, huge. He's really a cool guy, and it's just really fun to have that European take on things, and it has nothing to do with ukuleles really, except that you take all this stuff from guitar making or Luthier, and you incorporate parts of it into whatever instrument making you're doing, and you end up with your own thing. I'm trying to think of whether, I go to conventions, I speak at conventions, and I take workshops. I do both. So all these thousands of builders that I've met over the years, every one of them's a mentor. From the guy who's just made his first thing becomes my mentor. I go, wow, that's cool. So I take it wherever I can get it. Easy to inlay. Try inlaying Gleason. No, I don't think too much about that stuff. Usually when something new comes along, I just kind of go, oh, and then I do it. And that's where that came from. No. I'll tell you, before that, I used to be Natural Music Company. Try inlaying that. Natural Music. A guitar with a vine going up. That's what my logo was before that. So, nah. The pace is slow, slower, and very slow. That's my building pace. Like it used to be, maybe a couple of dozen ukes a year and half a dozen guitars, 8 guitars or so. And now it's more like 2 guitars a year, and in a good year, half a dozen ukes. That's about it. Well, for you to bring all your skills from everything you've done and try to make this one, try to make up for all those, every instrument has mistakes on it, everyone. At least I'll admit that. I don't know if some builders may not make any mistakes, but I think everyone does. Something happens. Wood is not a perfect material, a little chip here, something there, some millimeter measurement made wrong here or there. So ideally, the next one, none of that's going to happen. It's just going to be perfect. Never is. Probably never will be. But that's what I try to bring to everything. And unfortunately, mistakes repeat themselves. It's really weird. After you make a mistake and you think it's never going to happen again, you let 5 years go by, and all of a sudden you've kind of forgotten about that one little thing that could possibly happen, and it happens again, and you go, oh, so ideally I'd like to each instrument get beyond every mistake that I've ever made, and be able to judge the wood good enough that that I know the exact properties and I can be on top of anything that could happen, and just make this perfect thing that even sounds good. It's easier to make the thing that looks good than it is to make the thing that sounds good. That's why in instrument making, unfortunately, all this fancy stuff, the laser stuff and the CNC stuff, and all the exotic woods, unfortunately that's what sells instruments. Hopefully there are a number of people who go for sound, but it's really the glitz that sells instruments. And while I do some of that, I try more these days to just focus more on the sound. Let that other stuff go by the wayside. Batches are, it's a good idea in practice, but it's hard to do for me anyway. And almost everybody I've talked to, you get burned out. You got to do, like, building instruments. People think of it's really romantic, really cool thing to do. It's really a lot of work, and most of the work is not romantic. It's sanding, spraying finishes. And so if you build in batches, every time you're confronted with, oh, I have to sand 6 uke bodies, then the romance goes away. So I generally build. I might start a couple, at the same time, but at some point I'll stop. And concentrate on one until it's done.
Wow.
Yeah, I sold it today to Kenichi. That's the one. That one stands out beyond all I've ever made.
Really?
Yeah.
What's so special?
It just has really the tone. Has a lot of volume. Tone. It's easy to play. It just talks to me more than most. I mean, I've had a number of them that I like, but that particular one, so I may want to buy it back. It's going to be exactly like the one I sold to Kenichi today. It's going to be Ulu, red fruit, top, back, and sides. Exactly. Hilo fretboard and bridge, koa binding. It's going to be hopefully the same instrument. Well, living in Hawaii, it's really tough because we don't get to experience the builders. Like if you live in California, you go into a music store there, a good one like Griffin and Palo Alto. You guys have probably been to Griffin. There you can, there's a couple $1 million worth of guitars hanging there on the wall, and there's guitars from really great builders, and so many people doing it now. It's hard to know. 15, 20 years ago, there was only the names were in the dozen maybe. Now they're in the hundreds. So I don't really know what's out there. But I'm sure I would probably want an archtop guitar from one of the top builders. It's the people I name are dead, unfortunately. Diakisto, everybody would like to have a Diakisto archtop guitar. But yeah, archtops are still my ideal. If I dream about something, that's what I dream about. And I don't get that. I've made a few archtop ukes now, which are kind of fun. And I plan to do more of that. But unfortunately, I started out being interested. I had an archtop guitar before I ever built guitars. And they are to me, just the epitome of what there is at the top of the profession, except maybe some really nice classicals. And it's still the guitar the aesthetic beauty of that arched instrument. Still what I you know, really idolize. So I don't know who the builder would be, simply because I don't know who's out there anymore. Oh, I'm not gonna answer that.
Okay.
No, no, I don't care. Would my sales pitch be? What would my sales pitch have been? I don't take orders anymore,
Okay.
so I don't have a
What would it
sales
have
pitch.
been?
It would have been that I never have claimed to make the best instrument, better. I don't claim to make things that are better than other people. Never have. I claim to be able to make that every one of my instruments is going to be at least good. It can be very playable. It's going to stay together. It's going to look pretty good, you know, the finish and all of that. I'm not going to ever claim that it's the best thing you'll find if you know, from any of the other builders, nor will I claim it's the best thing I've ever made. Those are sort of accidental, like this instrument from Kenichi. I consider that an accident, you know, and I don't understand all the things that made that happen. Probably never will. And I'll attempt to recreate that by making that same, very similar instrument, same size, same wood and all of that. And it'll be really interesting to see what comes from that. So my sales pitch would have been, or it was, that I can make a nice instrument, sounds good, looks good, and I can satisfy certain of your desires for, you know, inlay or whatever. I can do that, but not that I can do everything. I have no idea. Probably something like good luck.
Well, it worked.
I have no idea what I told them. Sopranos and baritones are the two hardest to make. Concerts and tenors are way easier to make sound good. But sopranos and baritones are the most difficult. I probably just told them, make sure it's light. Probably something like that. You know, ease off on the bracing and the thickness of the wood. Nothing specific. You know, nothing like, you know, make that 1.72 millimeters thick or something, nothing like that. Well, how long can you keep doing something in your life? We did it for like 23 years or something. And yes, it made money and, you know, it was a good business, but it was boring. You know, it's like, you can't keep doing the same thing forever. We did it for a long time. It was good business, treated us really well. I mean, we're still not done. I'm still selling some bulk string and stuff that are left over. But it was just time. We've done it for a long time. Simple fact, I could have kept doing it. I'm just so over that part of our lives. And we just decided we had many chances to sell it. We had offers from very significant large string companies who wanted to buy it. And we just decided it was something we created and we wanted to take it out with us instead of see it get turned into something else. We always tried to do a quality product at the best price we could, and business generally doesn't work that way. And business is generally maybe a quality price, a quality product, but at the highest price you can get for it. And that was never our philosophy. We tried to do it at the most affordable price, and we didn't want to see it get changed from that format into something else. And I still use the Hilo Strings name for some other things that we sell, you know, other products, the ukulele makers and guitar makers. So I didn't want to let go of that name either.